I just finished vending my first show, you guys, and I gotta say, I had a blast. And today I wanna share with you guys everything that I learned after vending my first card show. Let's get to it. Welcome back, you guys, to the Splash Zone. My name is Michael, and today I do want to share with you guys about everything that I learned about being a vendor for the first time. Now, before I get to that, as you can see, I got some brand new apparel. I wanted to show you guys this because this vendor hooked me up and I appreciate him so much. So I'm gonna give him a shout out. You know, there's no strings attached to this. I'm not getting anything for this. I just think that they're great people and I believe in supporting other vendors because they were supporting me. So if you guys see, I got a brand new hat. You know, the Carp Pro Shop, you know, kind of like a knockoff of the Bass Pro Shop. And I got myself a nice shirt as well, if you guys can see it. So I got the Magic Carp, and I thought it was really awesome. And the place that I got this from is called Big Rich Apparel. And it's just an awesome, awesome place to be. The guys are sweet, they're great. And honestly, I had a great time talking to them a lot. And if you want to know where to find them, I'm going to post their email down below and also give you guys a little link so you guys can visit their webpage or whatever they have, maybe their Instagram, and you can see what they have. They have a lot of good stuff ranging from a bunch of Pokemon. You know me, I'm a sucker for Magikarp, so I had to go get me and deck myself up in Magikarp merchandise. But the Phoenix area card show was amazing, guys. The turnout was great. And I gotta say, I learned a lot vending for the first time. And I gotta tell you, did I love it? Absolutely, yes I did. Am I gonna do it again? Absolutely, yes I am. But before I do that, if anyone ever wants to be a vendor, here are some things that I wanna share with you that will help you go a long way. And I am now gonna tell you guys everything I learned as a vendor. So for the first thing, you do not wanna vend by yourself. Now, there's many reasons why, but the truth is, when you're vending by yourself, it's only you, and you gotta account for everything, right? So first, the struggle was I had to carry everything inside by myself. I mean, guys, I had my card case, right? I had my card box, right? Where I was holding all my PSA slabs and my singles. I had all my sealed product. I had a literal shelf, a foldable shelf. Thank goodness I could not carry that shelf by myself. And I had so many other things, and I was trying to carry all this stuff at once because you don't want to take two trips, right? Because the fact is, you know, you don't want to assume bad things about people ever. But you also don't really want people to take advantage of you and steal your things. So I could not make multiple trips. I couldn't afford to make multiple trips. So it was best to just bring one other person to help you carry things so you can make one trip. That's the best thing I would advise. Luckily, I had a nice person that was able to help me carry my shelf. So I wasn't having to go back and forth making two trips, increasing my chances of getting something stolen. Another thing is food. No one ever thinks about this, but when you're by yourself, you're literally there doing everything. You don't really have much time to eat. Maybe every now and then you could sneak a little snack in, but truly when you're by yourself, if you're away from your desk, one, you're increasing theft, but also you're increasing your chances of not getting a sale, right? So if you're eating and stuff and customers walk past you, well, they're not gonna see someone there, right? Or they're gonna see that you're not really engaging, so they're probably gonna walk past your table. So having someone else there to kind of fill in the shoes is really, really nice. And then you got bathroom breaks. Guys, I was struggling a couple of times, but luckily my good friend Jordan came by to help me out the first day. And then I did have my wife to come in and help me on Sunday. She was feeling terrible, so she couldn't stay that long. But I'm just glad I had some support because if I had to stand there for 7 hours without using the restroom, that would have sucked. So I was highly, highly recommend to make sure to have a person just so you could use the restroom and do your daily things. And lastly, you just want more people with you because usually the people who are targets for theft or to be robbed are those who are alone. Because the more people there are, there's a less chance that you're going to get robbed. So just being with somebody really increases your chances of going home with everything and not losing your entire business. All right, guys, the next thing I feel you guys should do is most definitely make friends with your neighbor vendors. That's the truth is, you guys want to look out for each other because one, there's a lot of things that can happen, right? For example, theft. You know, you want to keep eyes on everything, right? Not only your stuff, but also make sure to watch out for your other fellow vendors as well. Make sure that they're not getting taken advantage of, right? So I feel like that's always a good thing to do as well. But when you need a restroom break or you need food, they're there to help you as well if you are working alone. So there's good benefits to that. And in addition, you kind of get good deals with the other vendors when you're cool with them. Like I got the hat for free. The shirt was the only thing they charged me for. And that felt so awesome to just get that from a fellow vendor. Just because I was treating them nice, they treated me nice. So it's not like it's a perk thing, like you treat people nice because you couldn't get something. And no, you treat people nice just because they deserve it. They're people, they're humans. And when you do that, and you're just a nice person to other people, they want to do for you as well. So I would say get to know your neighbors for sure. The next one, and this may be controversial, but this next one I'm going to say is and this may apply more to the first time vendor, but cash is not always king. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes getting trades is way better. Because what happens is when you're trading, you're getting it at a percentage of the market, right? And you're gaining your inventory. You get cash, that's great. And of course, you're gaining your business. But now you got to go spend that cash. And sometimes you don't know if you're going to get the best discount on it because everyone's margins are so high right now. And they don't want to budge too much because Pokemon is hot. So you put a price tag on something, it's probably going to sell without a discount. So sometimes, even though you get cash, yes, it's great and it's king and all, but for a beginner who doesn't really have networking or connections, you eventually got to earn that and help and have distributors or other vendors who are willing to give you discounts. But when you're beginning, you don't have that. So sometimes taking trades in at 75, 80%, you're already getting a massive deal from customers who want to trade up for your things. So I feel like trading is actually king when it comes to a new vendor because you're getting cheap product, also able to sell your stuff at a very high market value, right? Where you placed your stuff. So I was able to do that a couple of times and I had a great time doing that. And I was able to add some things to my inventory that I never even thought about. And it was so fun. Okay, and the next one. Not all trades are equal though. Okay, guys, that's the truth. Not all trades are equal. I did 2 trades. Only one I was very proud of. And that one that I was not proud of is when I sold my Charizard V-Star card. I traded it for a PSA 10 Male Metal VMAX from Pokemon Go and $15. And even though I got my full value for the Charizard, right? I had a sticker on it for $55. I took in that card for about $10 off and got $15 cash. I noticed that that was not the best trade because honestly, it's only going to be a very niche buyer that's going to want to buy that Male Metal, right? So now I'm stuck with a card that may be very, very hard to move. Whereas that Charizard, I think had I waited, it would have moved regardless. I did have a couple of Charizard levers come up my table later on, and I was wishing I had that card. So don't trade a liquid card or something that's not liquid. That was something that I was not happy about. But I did have another trade that I was very, very proud of. So the truth is, I really didn't want to have my Journey Together box, and I was kind of scared to have the PSA 10 Eevee Twilight Masquerade, right? So those were the 2 I desperately want to get rid of just because I felt like their prices weren't that stable. So I had someone come in and offer me an amazing trade that I could not pass up. What they offered me at 80% was a PSA 10 Destined Rivals, Misty's Lapras, and Misty Psyduck, and they were sequential. So they were graded one after another. So that was really awesome just to have a sequenced set. I feel like right there was just a win. But then they added a Chansey on top of that, a PSA 10 Chansey from Twilight Masquerade. That was just awesome. And I actually ended up selling that card for profit later on. And I got rid of 2 things that I was kind of skeptical about. And and I sold them for full market. So there was no debate. They just sold for $200 and it sold for $120 for my Journey Together and Eevee. And I also did get rid of my Espeon Hidden Fates PSA 10 as well. So it was a good trade overall for me. So that was a good example of knowing, make good trades, minimize the bad trades. This one I had to learn the hard way. So I noticed that a lot of people were stopping by vendor tables that had a Pokemon binder to flip through the cards. I did not have that day one, right? So I was seeing people just come up, look at my card case, and then leave if they didn't see anything, right? I wasn't even able to really engage with them that much because they were like, okay, you don't have anything I want, I'm gonna move on. But when you have a binder, there's something about them standing there and it gives you a chance to engage with them and see what they're doing, see how they're doing, and just see how they're liking the card show and things. And it allows you to gain a little conversation with them. So I had to get a binder eventually. So later on Saturday night, I was able to buy a binder, and Sunday turned out so much better. And I made so many more connections because I have people stopping at my desk and flipping through the binder and talking with me. Whereas Saturday, if they didn't want something, they just walked right past me. And that sucked because I saw other vendors able to have that one-on-one connection with the customers. Not that I didn't have those without the binder, but the binder most definitely helped a lot with communication and networking. And there was just a lot more sales. And I just noticed that kids more than likely are not going to want to buy high-end cards or expensive slabs. They're probably going to want the cards in your binder. So that was a lesson learned, and I learned real quick and bought myself a binder that same day. Another thing that I learned is make sure you're standing up and being presentable and talking with people. It's just because it's not even just about the sale. It's just making them feel important. Because when you make someone feel important, they like to be seen. It does a lot for them. And one, it makes them want to support you. Not saying that there's always perks to it. There's a lot of times I did that and didn't make a sale, but I made a friend instead. Or they wanted to follow me on social media and things. They may not have wanted what I had, but they wanted to engage with me and they wanted to follow me. And that was just something awesome, right? So what I would do is I'll stand up and I'll go through a rule. If they make eye contact with me, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to say hi, ask them questions, and just see how they're doing. Make them feel important, right? But if they didn't look at me, I didn't try to go out of my way to get their attention. Obviously, they didn't want to talk to me. They didn't look my direction at all. So I kind of just let them pass. But it was just cool to see someone, it was just cool to meet so many people. I probably talked to about 300 people within those past 2 days. And to me, I got so much information from that. And I can also say that maybe they became fans of me and they wanted to see me in the future. Hopefully I have better things. If they didn't buy from me, hopefully I have better things for them to pick from. But it was great. Sometimes it led to sales, but that wasn't the intention. The intention was just getting to know the person and get that one-on-one connection. Next thing, if you're not sure, don't be afraid to ask vendors about what apps to comp. The truth is, I was using the Collector app, and the Collector app was really hit or miss at this card show for me. So I love Collector. I use it to track all my inventory. I use it to track my personal collection as well. But it's probably not best when you're trying to comp a card because it does run a few days behind. So I did ask some vendors, okay, what do you use to compare slabs? What do you use to compare singles? What do you use to compare sealed? I asked those questions because I wanted to know and I wanted to grow, right? So the Alt app was highly recognized as the best app to evaluate, to pretty much value your slabs, right? And let me tell you, it's great because you just take a picture on the Alt app and it pulls up the card and it tells you what it's selling for and it tells you the last recent sales. It gives you so much data so quickly and it gives you data of that day, right? It's not running a day or two behind like the Collector app can. Collector can even run sometimes 3 days behind. I love Collector. Like I said, I'm not knocking it. I will say that the Alt app was just better for comping slabs. And then for singles, TCG was the best because it has the mint, near mint, lightly played, moderately played, damaged, and it was just easy to look up cards. I did kind of fade away from singles just because, like I said, I'm not that experienced. I did take in a few that I knew were liquid and they looked good. Like, for example, I did bring in a Charmander and a Bulbasaur from 151 because they look good. But other than that, I try to stay away from cards that I didn't have much experience about just because of the fact that I don't really know the difference between limited and near mint and things like that. I am learning and eventually I'm going to get there to where I can confidently take in those cards. Next one, and I learned this really quick right away. When you tell someone you're the first time vendor, and not all vendors are like this, actually most vendors are not like this, but you'll have some that do not have good intentions for you. So I remember telling one of these guys that I was a first time vendor and right away he wanted to trade for my things. He was like, oh dude, let me trade for that, trade for that. And I noticed that he wanted a lot of my liquid stuff. And I kind of caught on to that. And I noticed that he didn't want to give me any of his good stuff. Like he was offering me cards that I could tell you for a fact, I know don't sell very well. They're popular Pokemon, but they weren't major sellers. And he was trying to get all my 151 products and maybe some very good tag team hit singles. And he was trying to give me some lesser desired cards. And I noticed that. And had I been a more ignorant vendor, I probably would have took it out of excitement. Like, ooh, someone wants to deal with me. I'm going to make an exciting deal. But truly, sometimes vendors, usually this is the case, some vendors, if they see something that they like from your thing and they're trying to find the best way possible to get it from you, It's because they know they could sell it for more, right? So for the most part, if they're not trying to give you the best things or your best things, turn them down right away. Now, of course, that may rub them the wrong way and maybe they don't want to deal with you in the future, but that's okay. That kind of keeps away that negative energy. And like I said, this is not most vendors. This is only some. Some vendors have amazing, amazing intentions, whereas some don't. So you do got to be aware of that and just realize that not everyone is here to help you succeed. The next thing I learned is to rebook your tables the day of the event. Truth is, it's harder than ever to be a card vendor right now and get into shows because usually people sign up quickly. And most guys who are the managers of this or the people who set up these vendors, they want to fill their tables ASAP for the next show. So usually what's going to happen is if you're vending at a card show, they're going to go ask you, hey, do you want to vend at the next show? And it gives you priority over other people who are going to try to sign up later on. It not only does it give you a better chance at knowing that organizer, it gives you a better chance at having success at vending at other shows. And then also you get to deal with the other vendors that you dealt with before, right? So you're becoming like a little community. So you just want to keep on booking tables time after time again. Now, of course, if you didn't have a good experience at this show, then maybe don't do it again. But if you loved it like I did, I took initiative and I was like, no, I am most definitely going to come back and vend at this show again. So just keep signing up, you guys. Look out for that. Make sure to get a table for the next month because trust me, if you do not get it and you leave and you try to sign up the next day, chances are it might not be there. Do not lose those opportunities. And lastly, guys, what you want to do is love Pokemon and have fun selling. Yes, is it about making money? Absolutely, when you're a vendor. But if it's only about making money, you're not going to have a good time because every time you don't make a sale, you're going to be mad. Whereas when you love Pokemon, it doesn't matter if you make a sale or not because you're having a good time chatting. I had so many good conversations about Pokemon, about nostalgia, about modern day Pokemon, just about life in general. And it was just fun getting to know people and just be a fan talking about the hobby that you love. It wasn't even just about the money, right? The selling was the frosting on top, right? I don't even know if that's the actual saying, but it just adds to it, right? But just loving Pokemon makes this job so fun and makes vending fun and it makes you want to do it time and time again. And I will tell you, I didn't make the most money at this show. I did get a lot of connections though. I did grow my inventory and at the end of the day, I had the best time ever and I'm going to continue to have the best time doing this as long as I can. All right, and those are my tips, guys, on what I learned from being a vendor for the first time. And if you did like those tips, please do like and subscribe. And if you had any other tips for me, please do comment down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Have an amazing day and bye-bye.